Good morning. I'm Reverend Joe Rutledge, and I'm happy to share what was given to me today. Today we're going to talk about choices. Choices that make you you. Choices that make you say, I gotta be me. A journey of choices is what we're all going through. Never question the fact that God always wants more for us. The truth is, we're all born different. And that's what makes us special and unique. However, in the U.S. today, we're all given the opportunity to have a baseline education that tries to make us the same. And that's why we strive to be ourselves through the choices we make. Everybody has that same base knowledge, but what we do with it or what we don't do with it, that's what makes you you. That's what really determines the lessons we're going to have in life. It's also what seems to separate us from where we'll end up living, the job we tend to take, the interests we take, and what we all encounter. It's those choices that make us unique. It's those choices we're afraid to make, but once we take that leap of faith and that step, help us see we can do more, we can be more. Because God knows we can be anything. We just forget we can do it. And our family gives us our base thoughts as we grow up when we're young. And as we continue through life's journey, it's the people we encounter, the schools we encounter, and the friends we encounter that help us to go those different directions. But when you start to take personal accountability and responsibility to make life's choices your own, your life will either accelerate or you'll start to go backwards because you don't want to take as much responsibility. I'm here to tell you, God wants us to accelerate. It's time to put on the gas. And I believe God designed this on purpose so that we could step out of our shells, so we can learn what faith is, so we can grow in faith, we can grow in confidence, and we can be ourselves. For me, it makes more sense that people would experience things and go through work and tragedy, knowing that, before we came on earth, we were a soul that chose this journey. Everybody's like, I don't know how God wanted me to go through this tragedy I went through. Well, that wasn't God's choice. That was your soul's choice. God's just helping you get through. God's helping you make that journey. And it's making choices in that journey that helps you either move through it with confidence, move through it a little bit rough, but not so bad, or sometimes you got to fall and have somebody go pick you up. That's the choice. That's what we're going through. Like it or not, our God is a good God. Like it or not, God is love. And our ability to return back to love is our ability to love ourselves and return back to God. And that's where the good choices start happening. And that's when you start smiling. Knowing this, the only way I can explain the tragedies that some people go through in life is that that soul chose it. And that soul knew that God would have them regardless through that experience. So whether you're a parent going through that, whether you're a friend going through it, whether you're a brother or a sister, no. God promised to be here for the journey you chose. So the phrase, I gotta be me, this life's journey is about you learning who you are by making choices and taking action and knowing that you came here to be accountable. We don't know what we're accountable to. We don't know what our soul chose for us, and so we all end up a little bit surprised. But know that it's about honoring the God within you, following your heart, following your gut, and taking actions through love. Love, the God within, is love. Each of our journeys is unwritten, and we got lots of choices to make. Because if we dare to make those choices each and every day and every second, we're going to recreate an experience. I call it co-creating. Every day we're co-creating with God. Through our choices, through our understanding. And if you think about it, we're choosing the food we eat. We're choosing to exercise or not. We're choosing our friends. We're choosing to be either negative, we're choosing to be positive, we're choosing to be codependent, or we're choosing to be the person that everybody's dependent on. So we're co-creating, we're going through that, and we made a choice to take that position. If we don't like that position, God's saying, are you strong enough to make a different choice? And we are. We are. We just need to know that we are. So choose a lifestyle you want to emulate. This will help you choose what you're going to do in life, where you're going to end up living, who you end up hanging around. If you'll find a place like this where you feel like you're at home. I say we make changes because it's all an adventure. We're all guessing. And if we are so worried about being what somebody else wants us to be, we aren't making our own choices. And so the choices we make on our own is what makes us who we are. And our heart and our gut tell us, that's not aligned with what I thought. And if you're not paying attention to that, then you're missing some of the big, big signs. Something happened to each and every one of us that led us to somebody that probably brought us to this room. And my guess is that you're here today to hear these words. Maybe you don't need them, but maybe you run into somebody who needs to hear it, okay? But somebody told you about someone at this church, and there's no accidents that we're here today. Because at some point in time, probably each and every one of you had a bad experience, hit rock bottom, lost a loved one, and in that process you said, there's got to be something more. It's not that maybe you weren't religious, but there's something more. There's more than just religion. And that's where spirituality steps in and starts to pick you up and lift you up. They can be hand in hand. You can go to more than one church. But usually, each of us found this because something happened. And so we're here to remind you, when something happens, you got a community that's behind you. You got a community that wants to talk to you. We're all on this journey together, but at our own pace. And within this unknown agenda, our soul is going to continue to be beautiful, continue to be a light, and continue to make perfectly imperfect choices. That's the only guarantee we have. But if we can accept that the soul made a choice for the family we have to be here in this time right now with the people we know and the people we have yet to know, then I think when bad accidents and bad circumstances happen, it's a little bit easier to accept. I accept this. You'll have to feel on it and see if it feels right for you. Perhaps I could share something further today that will be of value for you. The choices that we make daily, sometimes our body responds to those choices. Sometimes we end up sick in our gut. Sometimes we feel happier. But the point of that is our body is talking to us. And are you listening? Put another way, we each have those spider senses, right? Like Spider-Man, where something's telling us, and we just got to pay attention to what that spider sense is telling us. Because if you don't, then you're going to miss what those spider senses are trying to tell you. And you're going to miss out on opportunities to meet people, opportunities for your next job. Maybe you'll go down a path that I'll get into later. I was going to make a decision. I didn't make the full decision, but I started to become aware. And you can save yourself from going through a lot of heartache by paying attention to those spider senses. We're all born with energy centers. Those energy centers are chakras. Some of you know a lot about chakras. Some of you may just be learning. I'm only going to talk about two today. I'm going to talk about the heart and the solar plexus, because those are the two. If you pay attention to them, they're your spider senses. Those are the ones that are going to help you stay out of trouble and be a little bit more clear when you have some indecision or some important decisions to make. I also call it the God inside. Why? Because the God in us is trying to help us make decisions, and the only one way they can help is take you down to your knees through a bad decision, or give you a little hint in your heart or in your gut that says, hey, we can get through this, but pay attention. So you can make your decisions based on logic, or you can make your decisions based on your senses. But regardless of how you make your decision, in the spiritual world, we use what's called discernment. Now, discernment is a spiritual practice. It involves seeking guidance within you through intuition, through asking yourself, and some inner wisdom that you learn to develop by paying attention to your chakras and the energy that you have. It takes practice. You can't just instantly get it. You have to practice and learn. But the more you start on this path and make that a priority, the easier the lessons will be. Otherwise, they get big. You get taken down. You get made. You know in the end you've been made a fool, because you reflect and you say, why did I do all this? But logic can work with that hand in hand. The problem is the order. You got to use your discernment first, and then with your discernment, should I do this? And you'll feel, is it a yes? Is it a no? Some people see a flower wilting, some people see a flower dying. For me, I just clearly get a yes, no, or if I'm not getting a clear yes, no as a sound, I feel my head going no, yes, and I know that that's how I'm getting my answer, because I don't have control over my head, and I know it's just moving the way it needs to move. But should I do it? Yes or no? If it's not clear, ask again, ask again, ask again. And if you have some people who happen to be part of the church and are getting good at discernment, ask them, hey, I got a yes, no question, can you help me? And you'll at least be able to affirm your decision, or that'll tell you to go back to the drawing board and really work on it, because you got a different answer. But if you do get a yes and you want to take it a step further, say it's something big like changing a job or moving to another location, you're just like, all right, I don't have enough faith to just take my discernment. I want one more step. So then you make your pros and cons list, right? If the pros and cons list on your logical side becomes well weighted out of scale, contrary to your original answer, go back and ask again, because that's important. It's really important. The world's trying, and the universe is trying to tell you, let's make a better decision. Let's make a better choice. And the universe is your cheerleader. And discernment's not just about distinguishing right from wrong. It's a compass, if you will. It's about choosing what aligns to your values. So even though one answer might make sense, but you're going in a different direction. Your spirituality, your decisions, how you make decisions, what feels right. Even though you think it's a yes and you're getting a no, ask yourself, try to go in and ask, why did I get a no? I think this should have been a yes. Well, it could be a contrary to what your spiritual journey is going to be. If you move to New Mexico, but your spiritual base is here, maybe you're just meant to stay here a little bit longer and develop your spiritual skills. We don't know. That's up to you to find out and be strong enough to ask. So while these discernments seem like a baby step, and it's step one, everybody who starts on their spiritual path really kind of puts that in the beginning of their journey. Now, my story, a week back, I was getting ready we're thinking about adding a car to the household. There's just a need potentially for an extra car, not immediately, but soon. And I saw this wonderful value in a car. It's a 2023 at a 2024 brand new price practically. And I was just like, this is too good to be true. Well, the car checked out on Carfax. It looked great. But when I was going to go look at it, it was less than 60 miles away. It's going to take me 3 hours. Roadblock. Discernment. Spirit, should I be going? No. Okay, I'm just not supposed to go. I'm being stubborn now, right? Okay, Spirit, what else can I do? I want to make sure this car's reserved so I can go tomorrow when it's not 3 hours. The logical side is, oh, I'm going to go fill out the application online. I'm going to get pre-approved so that they save that car for me. And I did. Not a good thing. So what happened? You talk about human emotion, desire. You want a car. I got out of my discernment mode, right? You get lessons. I got a cheap lesson. All I did was kind of really, my credit dropped by 100 points in doing so because they shop so many places. And thank God I had great credit because now I still have good credit, but I was just like, whoa, what happened? But in my head, they said, wait a day, see what happens. Well, within that day's time, my credit dropped. I saw that it wasn't at the most honorable of dealerships. And what also happened was I got a nice call from a nice lady. Oh, well, that car doesn't have 3,000 miles on it. It's got 10,000 miles on it. Well, it's not the same car. I was comparing to another one that I really liked better. So all these new facts came to be. But again, I made a choice to go against my discernment. And what did I do? I got a lesson. I got a cheap lesson because I didn't buy the car, at least. So the nice thing was sometimes your lessons are hard. Sometimes they're easy. You know, also, when you get on this path and discern it, long time ago, I was young. And I had an opportunity to take a job, and the pay was phenomenal. Phenomenal. So much so that on pros and cons, just logic alone, there was no way I should stay at my current job. My gut turned the entire time I made this decision. You know, 9/11 happened, the job got eliminated, I left a stable company that would have made it, my whole life got upended, and it took me 10 years to get back on track to make what I was making at the other place, not alone the good job that I took. So you never know what those decisions are. Use my small lessons so that you don't have to go through some of your lessons. So it's funny how you think about basic choices can really impact you. I'm giving you small examples, but when you going down a spiritual path, the lessons get larger and larger with people and individuals because Spirit's challenging you. Did you pay attention? Are you doing what you said you're going to do? Do you have honesty and integrity? All these things, it just keeps building up, and they seem like small lessons, but in the world of lessons of life, when you pay attention, you know when you're in harmony with people, and you can feel when you're not in harmony with people. And once you get off that harmony page, you can get back on, but it takes a while. It's not easy. Again, choices. You know, our gut is known as our solar plex chakra, and it's noted by the color yellow. So your solar plexus is considered one of the energy centers in your body. That's the third energy center. It's associated with personal power, decision-making, confidence, self-esteem. Is this ringing aloud with anybody? So if you can actually discern and go in and think about these colors, how you can bring up your energy and bring up your confidence in a time of need. And when our solar plexus are out of balance, it's harder for us to be in tune and want to listen to the gut because we're feeling insecure. We're feeling like we're not worthy. If you know you're worthy and you've done your homework, then you know your gut is telling you a really good thing, right? So it's important to know that our gut is trying to help us make those choices. It's giving us that self-approval, that thumbs up, right? And it's very important to be in touch with that because it's also part of that fight and flight, right? Somebody's after you, you feel it in your gut and you want to run. Well, if your gut says run, go. Because if you're being threatened, that God inside is trying to tell you, and they're trying to tell you through your gut, so don't second guess it. If you're at a party and somebody's going to talk to you and you don't want to be around that person, leave. Go find somebody else. I'm sorry. Can you hold my drink? I'll be right back, and don't go back. It seems small. But so what are some things that can help you with your chakra? So your solar plexus, give yourself affirmations, right? It's about giving self-confidence. Bring yourself some affirmations. Simple things that boost your self-esteem and your personal power. Things like, I trust my inner wisdom. Simple as that, right? Do some breathing. Sometimes you get a little anxious when you feel a bit insecure. Take some deep breaths. Breathe in. Get control of yourself. And know that you're bringing that energy back into your solar plexus and you're going to be connected again. Ask for help and guidance so you can be connected. Set boundaries, right? When you feel insecure, when you don't feel like you have control, when you feel like, if you know you're right, it's so much easier, right? You're passionate and you go forward and you have that self-confidence. Don't let somebody else have the power over you, right? Ask for that guidance and speak up for yourself. If somebody's trying to say you don't know that, you can say something as simple. I may not know it today, but I'm going to do some homework on it. Please don't lecture it on me anymore. Stop. Put that boundary up. Like, here's a window. You got to help yourself, right? So that's one way you can help yourself. Physical activity is also good for the body. It's good for your solar plexus. Things like yoga, Pilates. You may not understand the extra value, but when you strengthen your core and just the nature of those exercises alone, you're getting centering yourself. You're working on your core. You're working on yourself. You're giving yourself time. You're doing things you don't even realize are happening when you're getting involved with that. It's also helping with your energy because typically when you're going to yoga or when you're doing that or going into meditation, you're getting in the right energy and around the right people. It's also equally important that you be in tune with your heart chakra. Because once you get control of your gut, your heart's the next one. But they're always working hand in hand. And your heart is that emotional compass. And it's affiliated with the color green. So I'm not rooting for the Green Bay Packers today, but I'm talking about yellow and green, okay? Just on the Bears fan. I'm just saying. So we make decisions, many of the important decisions in life, with our heart. It's hard to make it with your heart because your logic wants to take over. And we're programmed to be logical about it. And some of us, let's face it, we're logic-based. We're not the artistic people. Some of us are logic. It's okay. The logic people, it's harder for you to be on this side because we're trying to take you out of your comfort zone. And when you can, you're going to feel so much more relaxed. I'm not kidding you. Because our heart leads us towards compassion, empathy, love, the God inside, everything I've talked about. It's also affiliated with forgiveness. Many times we're going to forgive ourselves first, right? Once we forgive ourselves, and this is one of the choices you have to make. Once you forgive yourself, it's time to let go and forgive everybody else. It's a choice. But think about it. You don't have to say, you did me right. You're just forgiving what was done so that you can move on. So you don't dwell on it anymore. And that's important. Because if you don't move on, forgive yourself, and forgive others, you're blocking yourselves from opening up your heart chakra and getting to that next level. Because when our heart is balanced, it's easier to give out unconditional love, and people feel it. Ever go up and get a hug from somebody and you're like, oh my God, that was the best hug. You're the best hugger. They probably have opened up their heart chakra and they're ready and they're giving it. And you probably just stole all their energy, but they won't tell you. So if your gut's churning and your heart's uneasy, stop what you're doing. Exit the room. If your heart and gut both are telling you, that's an immediate stop and get out of here. It's time to ask questions. It's time to figure out, whoa, I want to make a decision. I need to get out of here so that I can actually go in and ask the right question, use my discernment, and make that decision. So what does that involve? Again, meditation and prayer. Meditation is when you listen to God. You can listen to God. You can ask a question and see what you get in meditation. God will try to give you hints on what to do. Again, you make choices. What you choose to do with that is your choice. Another way to balance your heart chakra is acts of kindness. The pay it forward mantra. The being a good listener. The learning not to talk about somebody when they exit the room. Little things that help you be balanced. And people get our goat. Yeah, I get it. And biting your tongue, it's the hardest thing to learn how to do, especially if everybody in your household did it for 20 years and now you gotta learn how to undo it. It happens. Doesn't mean you're unforgivable. You gotta forgive yourself first. Remember what I talked about? Forgive yourself for your bad habits. Express gratitude. Gratitude is very important in balancing out that heart chakra. Gratitude basically is giving a blessing to somebody else. It fosters a positive mindset. It fosters the love feeling. And then, of course, with the heart chakra also, you can work on the breathing. You can work on the breathing while you're meditating, work on the breathing while you're doing yoga, and work on the breathing while you're doing a number of things. Now, integrating our chakras into discernment, there lies the challenge, right? Because once you do that, you made a choice, then you got to make a choice to move forward. To move forward in your spiritual journey is essentially what you're doing. So how do you do that, right? Some simple things are, you got to tune into your heart and your solar plexus, and when you are faced with decisions, in that moment, ask yourself, how does this choice make me feel? On the heart level. Literally, hold your hand to your heart. How does this make me feel? And feel it. If it starts racing, probably not good. If you're more at peace and it's slowing down, it's probably good. Do the same with your gut. How does this make me feel? And if your gut's going in circles, probably there's some uneasy there and you should be asking more questions. Again, I use the yes, no. You will develop your own means. Some people see that rose, open or closed. It all depends. Everybody has their own way, and you got to keep practicing. But the more you do this, the more you empower yourself to make those decisions and know those decisions are good. But you got to trust your intuition. If you don't trust that, what you're getting, how can God give you more? How can the universe give you more if you don't trust it? Right? Getting back to some examples. So the past week, I was given the opportunity to live the same example I did before. My old company that I left said, "Hey, Joe." And the person I really liked, she called me. So I felt privileged, "Hey, Joe, how you doing? So glad you called. Hey, we got another opening. You should come take it." And I'm like, I don't know. I'm feeling on it in my head. I'm like, no way. And then logically, she's like, "Well, we can pay you a lot more money than we did when you were there." And I'm like, "Oh, more money." And then I got thinking about it more. I'm like, oh, I'm homeless. I'm more stressed. I'm more this. I'm more that. I'm just like, I slept on it for a night. And in the end, now I know I got to call her back and I got to say, thank you, but no thank you. Because it's not worth giving up the extra 20 hours a week for my family. It's not worth the stress that I'm going to have. It's not worth leaving a company that feels like they're my family. It's just not worth it. But back at 9/11, I didn't do that. And I don't want to relive that, I'm telling you. I don't want to start over. I've only got 8 more years. I don't have 10 years to get it fixed again. So, the world and universe will give you some of the same lessons to see if you'll pass them again. And be ready and learn. Because when you pass them, I feel really good now. I felt good before I said it out loud, and now that I said it out loud, I feel even better. I feel happier that I was able to say it. The difference today versus the past was really the learning and experience that I've had. I'm a better listener. I'm a better listener to my body. I'm a better listener when I go in and I'm quiet. And we never know what it's going to take. But as we navigate through the life and our choices, let us simply embrace the divine gift of free will that's given us. Embrace the emotional wisdom that our hearts are trying to provide us. And we need to also be intuitive and accept that intuitive guidance that you're getting in your gut. By practicing discernment, we can simply align our life with the choices better. We can know that the God inside is guiding us, because God's will lead us in very positive directions, and God's will give us the confidence to get through even when we can't feel it. God's will give us the reflection of love, of grace, and purpose. I've said some of these things before, but it's just so important because we're going to be bombarded with choices to make, with the craziness that's coming ahead. And I hope that you will embrace the calmness of God inside and not be over anxious with emotions, because just because somebody can trigger your emotions doesn't mean you follow it. So embrace the calmness inside. Embrace the choices that you make. Take time for yourself and make a better choice. And may God be with you.